Well, guys, we are here with none other than Joseph. He is everywhere in front of you, all different platforms. He he is probably, I can't even compare you to anybody that I know. Like you and I could literally days just talk about ideas and all the things that you have in your mind, just the inspiration you are to me. So welcome. How are you?
No, thanks for having me on, and I'm doing great. Everything's changing moment to moment. We were kind of talking about that, and it's such a great time for people who are creative to just start popping ideas out there. So,
Well, you don't have any lack of ideas, and I know that whenever we're able to be together at events or chatting on the phone, all of those things, like just the ideas flow, catching each other at market. Tell everyone, if they haven't come across your path, a little bit of your history. I mean, how did you get to where you are? And give us a little bit of insight of where you feel like you will be headed in these next few months, as like you said, the opportunities are here.
yeah. So if you guys don't know me, Joseph Haecker. My background was in hotel casino lighting. So for 20 years, I designed light fixtures for hotels and casinos. So if you've been to Vegas, if you've been to the Wynn, if you've been to the Cosmopolitan, I did 80% of all the major decorative lighting at the Wynn, and I did all the casino floor lighting and the lighting for the chandelier at the Chandelier Bar. So that was kind of my background. I went out on my own and was consulting on my own. And while I was sitting at a ski resort in Big Bear with my kids were snowboarding. I was on my computer working, and I was billing at a good amount. I was billing at $240 an hour. I was sitting there drinking a whiskey Coke and on my laptop making good money while the kids were snowboarding. And I sat there going, wait, why am I sitting here? I want to be up there snowboarding with them. So it got me set on the path of developing technology. So I launched Design Wall, which was supposed to be a social platform for the design community. We built an amazing team for that. We were 4 years in on it, and we failed to pivot. So we failed to take our free platform and make it profitable. UPS or Amazon delivery. So we failed to pivot in October of 2017. I went live on Facebook, and oh yeah, for you guys that don't know how crazy I am,
Oh my gosh.
I got the tattoo. My show was Design Talk Live. My first episode was F the Trends. Went live on Facebook, hit the go live button. I had 2,200 people watching that day. That episode went on to be watched 30,000 times that day. It turned into an entire show. By that December, we had celebrities on the show. We had the Scott brothers come on and lip sync battle. We had Macklemore and Collective Soul play live on the show. So in 2018, that went on to be my 1 hour a week episodes. 51 episodes went on to be viewed 3.2 million times in 2018.
Unbelievable.
So,
Unbelievable.
fast forward, I've got to travel a lot, got to meet a bunch of different people, and now I'm headed back into tech. I've got a new product coming out, and because of the talk show that evolved into the live broadcast network, and with that, we've used that platform for a bunch of different things, hosting different types of shows. So I've got a new show coming out on that as well.
That is great. And you are related to, I mean, all the industries that kind of counteract with, design, home staging, real estate, tech, really being the baseline with all of the connections that you have at market and celebrities that are launching product. It's been a whirlwind, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's been one of my craziest phone calls was a call from Reese Witherspoon. Wasn't expecting the call, was talking to her team, and then she just called and said, hey, let's just cut to the chase, and called. And I was like, oh, that's weird.
Oh, that's great. Well, I love it, and you have had such an inspiration. You inspire people to take, I think, look at things differently. We're in these industries that have been around for a long time. And so now, especially, call it crisis, the things that we've been through that have gotten us to here, how much more important is technology today in really intersecting with these industries?
That's really interesting. So when we launched Design Wall, we paid for a market study, and that market study told us a lot about the industry that we were looking to launch the tech in. And it said that this industry does not adopt tech very well.
Mm.
Um, it- 80 to, it was like almost 90% of the industry is women in the interior design field. Uh, but the people that head the manufacturing companies, typically a white male, 65 and older. And those guys just, they latch on to whatever it is. If they're paying for a print ad in a magazine, they will stick with that magazine till death do they part. And they don't change. Manufacturers, they're in it for the long haul. So they develop a product. There's a lot of money that goes behind that. There's a lot of commitment, and they stay behind that product, even if it kills them.
Mm.
And so this has been an interesting time. And I think you've seen companies that aren't doing so well because of that.
Yeah.
And you're seeing other companies thriving on the change.
Well, Joseph, when you think about the old school methodology of going to market, right in front of the product, now to this whole iBuying world, I mean, are you envisioning change in behavior, especially with all of the tech? I mean, my sons are 18 and 21, and if they were to open store, I mean, they would want to just click and order and go. So are we seeing that that trends are coming up that are going to allow us to be able to click, point, and purchase even from wholesalers?
You know, I mean, I think that the industry is getting shoved into an uncomfortable zone. I think we're now getting more used to like the Zoom calls. So stagers are doing remote meetings. They're doing remote walkthroughs. Um, I would love to see more technology designed from within the community to meet our needs instead of using like, hey, Zoom is awesome, but you've got Facebook came out with Rooms, and you've got, so we're going to use other people's technology. I would love to see us develop our own. And
Mm.
I would love to see manufacturers support innovation from within the design community. Had we had High Point Market, I was hosting a design innovation fair. And the idea behind that was to get people from within our industry saying, hey, I may not have the means for this, but I've got this idea. And we were looking to get companies to put money behind it and kind of fund some of those ideas. I would like to see Shark Tank type stuff happen in the design industry.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's very
Unfortunately, the industry is very reluctant to do stuff like that. If it doesn't get people into their showroom, then manufacturers tend to not be too interested in it. Uh, Ahead of that event, when I was promoting it amongst manufacturers, some of the manufacturers are like, Joe, markets are for buying and selling. They're not for sideshows. And I was like, ooh, you're not really looking further down the line. The world is going digital. And unless we harness that, unless that comes from within, we're going to rely on somebody else's something. Some other person is going to create something outside of our industry.
Well, your doorbell just rang, probably as you mentioned, Amazon or whatever. And if we were to, we know that there's pros and cons to everything when it comes to design and wholesale and all of those things. But unless, you're so right, unless they begin to pivot in their own businesses, my fear is that the Amazons are going to replace. I mean, when you think about the home staging industry, we have tomorrow 3 different types of product being delivered, or I guess you could say 3 different ways, and that doesn't even count Amazon that comes here probably 5 times a week. I'm not joking, for some of our staple pieces. But we're now, buying from these retail stores that have credit options because we have less inventory. We are 2 miles away from one of the coaster, manufacturers here with their huge warehouse, the one that's in Fort Worth in Texas. And they're out of inventory. And when they do have inventory, we're waiting 4 or 5 hours at the dock to try to get it. And so it's all of these pain points. And we love Coaster, not to bag on Coaster here, but it's like, what is easiest, less constraints? It's going to be also cost prohibitive to us. But I mean, how can we fix this?
I don't know if you knew if we had met back then, but I think it was in 2000. I think it must have been spring market 2018. I hosted a design community town hall at High Point Market in the theater. And what one of my frustrations was we get all of these people here, 100,000 interior designers, retail buyers, specifiers. We've got all these manufacturers, and we're not talking to each other. We're not solving problems within our industry. Why don't we have that conversation? Why aren't we innovating? Why aren't we just manufacturers hire marketing directors, and they get their VPs and their presidents, and they compete with each other, but they don't just ask the community, hey, what could we do?
Right.
And the community, and I complain equally, the community will tell a designer, oh, wow, I love this pillow. This is amazing. And then they'll walk out and they'll say, oh my God, that was a piece of shit, and I'm never going to use that, But
And it's expensive.
they've got mirrors all over it. I mean, how? Yeah, and so we're not being honest with each other. And, the theme for Design Talk Live was an ongoing conversation, the design community about the design industry. And back then I was inviting people to get pissed, get inspired, but get talking. Mm-hmm. And my concept for that show was that I believe that communities talk. Mm-hmm. Industries hoard, communities talk. We still haven't fully adopted a community mindset.
Yeah.
We're still an industry.
Yes.
And even within smaller sects of the industry, hospitality is different than residential. Residential is different than home staging. We've got a lot of e-design is kind of the enemy of everybody. It's weird. I don't get it. And yet all of our needs aren't really fully met by the industry.
Yeah, you're right. And I can definitely appreciate the I guess you could say our suppliers that do have online options to purchase, and they're trying to get there. And now it's like, okay, how do we make this to where it is a robust system? It's super easy for an end user to use, like the busy business owner. And when we can get these conversations going, I love that you even talked about this in 2018, 2 years ago, and still what has been adopted. So it's almost like, okay, getting everyone on board that this is where the world is going, like it or not, and how do we make it super user friendly for our clients and get those communities talking so that we can have something. What we're hearing in the real estate industry and how they've had to pivot with all of the tech, real estate industry has been broken for many, many years, and they took 5 years of technology and literally condensed it into 3 months to try to meet the demands and needs. So hopefully our design community
real estate industry. The real estate industry was kind of interesting because the board of realtors really came together. The Realtor Association came together and really led the charge.
Yes.
They got really organized. They brought in the right people at the top who came from other industries, who had proven track records, and they really did advocate. They created was kind of like how we created the Constitution in the United States. We didn't organically let that happen. The top people came together, locked themselves in a room, and said, "Hey, let's come up with some rules that we can all abide by, that we think are the golden standard." And they wrote, our Constitution. Um, yeah, and so we just really haven't had that in the industry. Um, the realtors have, and there's more of a direction now, and they're more able to pivot and change. I just haven't seen that, and I've gotten pushback. Some of the top leadership at ASID and all the different trade associations in interior design won't pick up my call, because I say that they haven't really done it. They just haven't pulled their stuff together for us. They throw a good shindig, and if you ever get to an ASID party or IDS party, they're fun. But I just don't see them advocating and leading the
We're
charge.
not solving problems. Well, if we were to say that, I mean, think about the pipeline and the ripple effect of starting with our manufacturers, those suppliers that then provide product to the designers, to the home stagers. When that's broken, now we're behind how many markets, and we have a delay in Vegas. So now that ripple effect is those home stagers that are impacting real estate and the real estate market, and which then impacts, gosh, your price points, your comps. If we don't have product to stage with, then those homes aren't getting staged as much or as great as they could. Now, we're paying more pricing for retail. So that means we're having to charge more. So it's now the domino effect to impacting the real estate community, which impacts the end user's home altogether. So it really does start with these, at the core, the manufacturers, the suppliers that have a timely product when we need it, have the inventory, can deliver, and make it super easy. Like, we don't want to go to market. I don't want to have to travel to market to order the product that I need right now. And yes, we've got some online options there, but it's still not robust. So you're right. Who do we talk to? And they understand they're impacting multiple industries down to the market value and the comps of their property that they want to sell one day.
Um, Amazon came out of thin air. They went bookstores first, and then just started expanding beyond that. They got their system in place and then scaled. We just don't have that front runner on our end. There were some good ones that could have. Total, who now is Steelyard, they were a directory that turned into kind of an online directory. That could have been a good charge. They could have, made it that would have been a designer's resource. There's the designer's resource. There's the what's the Designer Inc., Heather's platform. There's a lot of platforms that probably could have, but we haven't had one that just like was a runaway freight train that just nailed it. Again, our industry is not really focused on tech like that. We don't support it. When Ivy was acquired by House, our industry split. We went into camps, and we said we hate House or we love House. I just think that we need more conversations. We need more conversations about helping that help. Let's say, Jana, you had a tech idea. Right now, you've got to leave the industry in order to go seek funding, pitch that idea. You've got to go to a local pitch competitions and try to get in front of Silicon Valley people. Why are we not doing that inside of the design community? Why are we not organizing innovation from inside of the community? And I'll tell you, that doesn't happen at hospitality shows. It doesn't happen at any of the design shows. And I really wish that we did. Yeah. I wish that we had our own, Zoom platform for designers, because Zoom doesn't quite meet the needs of a design presentation. You know, yeah, I wish we, and I wish that the companies that made it, like Ivy, or you know, some of the big companies that have made it, Dot and Bow and Wayfair and these guys, I wish they put back into us as well.
Mhm.
In the tech community, from going and pitching my design wall and my different tech platforms and raising money for that, the the tech industry, they are really good about reaching back. So once you've climbed that hill, or even on your way up, you reach back and you help the next guy up. And we don't do that in the design community. If I become an influencer, I'm suddenly the influencer. I don't go help the next guy become the influencer. We don't reach back very well. When we had that town hall, we talked about how we consider interns. So for in the design world, that's like cheap or free labor. But we don't mentor very well. We go coaching, but we don't mentor very well.
Mhm.
We don't give of our time very nicely. Um, and I just wish that we'd become a tighter community, and a community that fosters innovation and encouraged more.
Yeah.
So I love what you're doing, because you take the time to interview people, talk to people, and keep a conversation going.
Yeah.
And you know what, Jenny, she does hers. Oh, I can't believe I'm blanking on her name right now.
Yeah. Recent Shell.
Uh, Shell, yeah, yeah. Oh, I saw her. Shell is so amazing, and I saw her head, her face in my head. I just didn't, you know, couldn't get the name. So yeah, amazing that you guys create the platforms and talk and have the conversations. I wish we were having more of them, and I wish that we had them at the big events. I wish
Mhm.
we had, and I wish that those big events, those venues like High Point Market and Vegas and Atlanta, and I wish they embraced these things too and helped lead the charge.
Yes. Well, we've been tasked with, you know, our talk for August is the state of the home staging industry, and really sharing there. And I would say the team, our leadership team within HSRA, has been very dedicated to how do we move into this tech world. And because that's what our clients are wanting. You know, they want a super quick, simple, know what the expectation is. And it's really hard to do that with a high-end product, or maybe a high price point product. And I think that's been the challenge that's kept us going. We're not selling a can of Coke. You know, we're selling something that could be, how do we take the complicated and make it super simple and easy and user friendly, when it comes to not only service but product, and collaboration, you're right, is key there. Bringing those associations in, and let's knowledge base, let's share, and come up with those ideas. So I know you're part of that. You're part of our group. You've kind of, you know, had the hand of design world into home staging, and I love your methodology. I mean, fast forward a year, who are the companies that are going to not only survive but thrive in this kind of new world that we're experiencing?
That's an interesting one. First of all, I think that even though we're reopening, eh, the virus has not been fixed. We're just acting like it's somehow gone away. I think that we're in for some more turbulent times going in the future. Um, when you look at trade shows and where we kind of go gather to go source products and stuff, I know from the trade show end of it, they're not having an easy time either. They're trying to be hopeful, but you don't book a trade show for next week. You book a trade show for next year. And if you don't have the confidence to book now, that trade show next year is not going to happen. So a lot of the manufacturers aren't putting the money into something that they don't know is going to be around next year. I know manufacturers that aren't even paying the rent on their buildings anymore, because they just don't know, and they want to, you know, suck the blood into the vital organs. So they're not spending on these, you know, retail showrooms. And you're seeing it with the big box brands that they're closing down.
Right.
Walmarts are looking to shrink. I mean, So our industry, even more so, they were under fire. They've been under fire for years.
Hmm.
Um, so as far as which companies are gonna a year from now, I think, oh man, it's a roll of the dice, but it's going to be the people that are willing and able to take some risks, um, open up the lines of communication, really talk with designers and the community, learn from them, not try to come up with the answers on their own. I would like to just like kind of not to bring politics into it, but me personally, once we voted you in, represent my ideal, but get shit done. And I don't see a lot of manufacturers working together with each other and with us to solve problems. You see one manufacturer do one thing, you see another manufacturer do another, you see everybody just creating silos. And this is, again, a very industry type of behavior. And I would like to see those industry partners, those businesses, the manufacturers come together. So the winner in this is going to be the person that can reach across the aisle and get a bunch of manufacturers to work together, a bunch of associations together, and a bunch of representatives from all different groups of the design community, and say, let's put together kind of a world congress of design, and let's figure this stuff out. You've got $3 and you've got 2 quarters. Let's put it all together and let's solve the problem.
Yeah.
That'll be the winner. And that person will stay ahead for a while, or that entity or that organization.
Love it. I love that, Joseph.
I don't know who that's going to be.
Yeah, it is. It's time will tell, and hopefully we're going to have, we can all be part of that because we have that like-mindedness there. Well, Joseph, what do you have going on? How can people connect with you after this episode?
So, I'm always trying to like solve that, right? So I've got a new tech platform coming out. We don't have a release date for it, but it's a digital business card. Ahead of that, I wanted to make sure that I've got this recipe right, that it's going to be successful. So I've been reading books and listening to podcasts on kind of what makes a business successful. And I literally had a podcast going in my ear and I was reading a book at the same time. I'm doubling up, right? So I'm like, come on, I gotta get the answer. And I was reading chapter after chapter, and I'm like, man, I've got to read through all these words to try to find my golden nugget, you know? And I was like, I've got plenty of celebrity friends, CEO friends, executive type friends that have been successful. What did they do when they hit that? They had a good idea, or they thought it was. They were climbing up that mountain, and then they hit this like dead zone, right? Where like, for whatever reason, that idea just stalled, that barrier. What did they do to overcome that barrier and hit success? So I was like, well, why am I reading other people's books and listening to other people's podcasts? Let me just call up my friends and ask them, how'd you do it? So I'm launching, we're already booking guests for the 3 Foot Project. And that's purely what this is about. This is to say, hey, what was that barrier and how'd you overcome it? And so we've got Kathy Ireland coming on, Chaz Dean, David Meltzer, who is the inspiration for the movie Jerry Maguire. We've got Roger Thomas, who was the head of design, former vice president of design for Wind Design and Development. And then we're lining up a bunch of different people. So I'm excited to launch that this August. I'm excited to hear the answers myself.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to share those with everybody so that everybody can learn through the journey as well.
Yeah, 3 feet to gold. You're so right. I mean, we want to push through. We want to see, those ideas get into action, get into implementation, and continuous improvement. And that's who you are. And I'm excited to be on that journey with you. So anything we can do to help, please let us know.
Well, yeah, tune in, hit share. I don't know if, but my hashtag on everything's always sharing is caring. if you see something in the industry, Jana posts something that you're like, wow, that strikes me as a home stager, a designer, as a person, hit the share button. You don't know who within your network can benefit from that. And so social media is such a powerful thing because it just takes hit share.
Yeah, that's
As
right.
you're watching these interviews and as you're watching these different segments, hit the watch party button and share that with your network. You never know who it's going to benefit.
Especially now, people are looking for answers and solutions now more than ever. So, one big reason we're doing this, and I know, Joseph, that's what you are doing as well. You're all about sharing and reaching that next level. So, thank you so much, and looking forward to connecting with you soon.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me on, and can't wait to be at an actual venue again, hanging out with all of our peeps.
That's right.